So I should leave it shared, right?
Yes, please. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our Scrum session. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. As you know, today we have David Webb with us, who will be talking about our online integrated library. As you know, we have the Q&A section open. You can leave in your questions, your queries, or your suggestions, and we will try our best to address them at the end of the session. So without much further ado, we have David Webb with us. So David, could you please introduce yourself and could you please start with your presentation? Thank you.
Yes, certainly. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm David Webb, for those of you who don't know me, and I have been involved in the organisation in many capacities, but what I've been working on lately is revolutionising our library service, which is something very exciting that I want to talk to you about today. So I've called this talk a library for Web 3.0. Many of you might be familiar with this concept of iterations of the internet. So first, the internet was developed as a linked series of websites where you could have hyperlinks in between different things. Then we had Web 2.0, known as the social web, where people were participating and having social media and things like that. Both of these previous iterations of the internet, of course, still continue today. But there is a new revolution in the internet, what is known as the semantic web, where data are not only accessible through a search engine, but also subject to more complex algorithms, metadata, social metadata, which is where people as users contribute to metadata, and with the rise of artificial intelligence and more complex entities taking part in the internet, we have a much more sophisticated internet experience for users. Now, library services have a history of being in a leadership role as far as participation in the internet. Most people in Australia would have first experienced the internet at a public library, which were one of the first types of institution to introduce computers. And back then, things were very basic and it was dial-up and things like that. But as the sophistication of the internet has evolved over this period of time, since the 1980s until today, about 40 years, so has the way in which library services are used and accessed. So a library service ultimately is an information service. It's a service that is about providing the best information for the needs of its patrons. And as such, library services have gone from having some of the very basic types of catalogue that you would have been familiar with in the early days of computer use in libraries, when you could do a keyword search by author on a black screen with a flashing cursor. Then we went through an iteration where there was perhaps a more visually appealing user interface, and you could search different types of resources, but the search was still relatively basic. Now, libraries are run with complex software known as an integrated library system, or ILS, and the ILS brings together a variety of types of information service combined with what's called a discovery service, which scours all available information to bring together resources that are most suitable for a user. At IHM, we have now upgraded our library, so we have this type of very sophisticated library software. We have an integrated library system which incorporates a discovery service. So now, as well as being able to search our various subscription databases, you can now do a single search that will cover all resource types across our library service. And this is something that we've just launched. It's a very new thing for IHM. I will now share my screen and just show you what it looks like. Okay, so can we see my screen?
Yes,
Excellent.
David.
Thank you very much. Okay, so here it is. This is an interface that many of you would be familiar with from your study at various Australian universities. In fact, it is the same software known as Primo that the majority of Australian universities, about 70% of Australian universities use, and that is now the same software that we're using across all of health careers. You'll note that in the top left-hand corner, we have the ACE-Learn logo. This is a new trademark and it represents a service organisation that will provide a library service not only to one of our institutions, but to all health careers institutions, so to IHM and to IHNA and to other parts of the organisation. With a view to also offering educational services and information literacy services beyond Health Careers Group. Okay, so the search that I have open is for NURS asterisk. You'll note that this search interface understands Boolean searches, so you can use things like a truncation with an asterisk, and you can join your search terms using and, or, and not, just like we teach our students to do in the individual research databases. And this particular search has returned, as you can see, over 1 million results. So this is a very large sort of volume of data that you've got that you're able to search now, because you're searching books, ebooks, databases such as CINAHL Complete and Medline and Health Business Elite and all of the subscription databases that we have across the EBSCO host, InfoRMIT, Ovid and other platforms. Okay, this tick box over here, expand search results, will even further increase the number of results we get. So I've ticked this box and now you can see we have 18.5 million results for our search, which is a query on any truncation of NURS, so nurses, nursing and things like that. It is a very large volume of data indeed. Fortunately, this user interface comes with a variety of ways in which you can refine your search. As I said, you can use Boolean modifiers, so and, or, and not, to join together different keywords. So for example, if I wanted to search for NURS and, I could put in diabetes, for example. That would narrow it down to things that included both of those keywords. Yes? So that's one way in which you can refine your search. And this is the sort of thing that we teach to students in the orientation for IHM, and which we need to make sure every staff member and every student is aware of. So how to do a Boolean search. We teach these to IHNA students in the Diploma of Nursing and things as well. I've often participated in those orientations. So another way that you can refine your search using this interface is by using these filters down the left-hand side. So for example, I've got books and ebooks and things like that coming up in the search here. I could narrow it down to just peer-reviewed journal articles by using this tick box. Click apply filters, there we go. And so that's narrowed it down. I've still got 4 million results, it's quite a lot. I want only ones that are available online. Apply filter. That's going to be the majority of them, I would say, still 4 million. And another very important way I could narrow down my research would be by date. So you probably want things that are clinically current for most topics. So creation date, I can put, instead of 1924, I can update it so it's things in the last 4 years or 5 years, 2016, there we go. So we're refining the search further and we're bringing it down to smaller numbers of results. There are many more ways that you can refine your search with all of these things. So for example, you could choose an individual journal. You could choose a collection. So for example, only things within CINAHL, which would primarily give you nursing resources. only things in Ovid which would primarily give you filtered data, such as systematic reviews and evidence-based care sheets. So that's a very useful type of filter to apply. And you can also search by language and geography and many other things. Now, once you find a resource, so some of these are journals, but I want journal articles. I'm going to just change my resource type to articles so that I don't get full journals. There we go. And now if I want to open and view one of these articles, firstly, if I click on it, it'll give me detailed information about it. So it draws metadata from resources such as OCLC, which is a public library service, Library of Congress, and many other sources. So it will provide metadata that are automatically generated for the article. In the past, librarians had to actually laboriously enter all of these metadata for each item, which would have been impossible given the millions of resources that we have. So the library automation that we're doing is quite amazing, and it reduces the workload on staff very much while providing excellent metadata. So you can view all of these details now. This is the full text link that will take you through to the article, and this will authenticate you using Open Athens based on your student or staff Microsoft account. If it doesn't work for you, please contact myself or Alex, and of course we'll help with that. Okay, so this is all one single login for every resource, and you'll find at the top that there is a cite function. So you can click and you can copy the APA 7 citation for that article, which you can then paste into your assignment or other paper that you might be working on. So it's pre-formatting, it's got APA 7, so our citation style, the main one that we use. So this is basically the interface. You can also export to EndNote, print the data from the article, and you can go through to the article. Doesn't matter where you are. You can be on campus, off campus. You can be an online student in another country, and it will authenticate you. It's very secure. It's using Microsoft login credentials, and it will take you through to the article. Oh, view article on EBSCOhost. There we go. So it had that little step in between. I won't wait for it to load. Now, where would you find access to this library page that I've been showing you? Well, there's been a link placed at the top of the IHM website. That's just going to say library. Currently it says online library. And of course, in every IHM course, we have the library tab. And so your students and your lecturers who are in the course you can click to launch it, or you can actually use the search bar at the top of the library page. And this will let you search. And once you search, of course, it will open that same interface that we were just looking at, which is the Library Discovery Service search page. And there it is. Okay, you could open that in a new tab and it would be a separate separate interface like this, or you could use it within Canvas if you want to. Okay, so that's all I've got time for my talk. I hope that you're all going to start using this and loving it. If you have any feedback or ways we can improve it, please let us know. And we'd be really interested in just knowing whether you like it and you know, whether this is making a difference to what you're doing as lecturers and as educators. There are lots and lots of things that this can do in terms of integrating resources with Canvas and with your course as well. So if you're involved in development of units, please talk to us and we will help you with those things as well.
Thank you.
Back to you, Gauti. That's
Yes,
all right.
thank you so much, David. We have a few questions. So we have Dr. Shishir who has asked you, when can we fully enjoy the service?
Well, you can pretty much fully enjoy it now. There's not any limitation on your use of it, and it's operating to its full potential now. We're making some tweaks. So, for example, there's a redevelopment of the IHNA website, which is going to result in a link being placed at the top. But we're told we need to wait until the full redevelopment rather than have it done yet. There is there's some more improvements to the integrations and things like that. And of course, we're adding more resources and adding more databases all the time. But right now, if you're involved in developing a curriculum or teaching a course and you start using this, you're going to have an amazing experience.
Okay, thank you, David.
Right.
So you've already answered Dr. Shishir's second question. And Catherine, what happens is we will record this session and I'll upload it on SharePoint and perhaps send you the link so you'll have full access to the video and everything that David had to say. Yes.
Yes, and if you want to request further training for you or any of your colleagues or your staff, then myself and Alex are available to do that. We are going to plan some more things. We've done an orientation for students on it already, and there's a lot more to come in terms of teaching people the nuances of how to use this and how to benefit from it.
Okay. David, sorry, we have one more question from Valerie. So she wants to know, is this the same as CEngage? C-engage, or I don't know, Cengage?
No,
Okay.
no, it's not. The Cengage ebooks and resources that have been provided for students, they're in their own platform and they are not available as library resources. So they've been deliberately kept separate because of the nature of those resources and the licensing arrangements for them. They're not a library copy.
Okay. Yes.
Good question.
Yes. And Charunya really loved your presentation here.
Glad
And
to
then
hear it.
she's really happy with our new library service. So I believe that is it from us. Thank you, David, once again for volunteering and for giving us this wonderful session. So if anyone has any questions regarding this, kindly contact David and Alex. Yes. So thank you all for joining us once again. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. And we'll have this recorded version on SharePoint. I'll upload it and I'll share the link with everyone. Thank you. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.